I told you about Polly. Let me tell you about Herb. He was in his late 70s when I met him. He kind of retired Colonel Army. I think he went to West Point. Graduated like top, I want to say top 5%. He never talked about himself much. I mean, I found these things out. Boy, there's some war stories in there. I got a Korean war story for you from one of them, not from her. Oh, I'll save that. So Mom always wanted to go to Alaska, and by this point, the Alzheimer's was working pretty good. It was kicking in. But there was still a lot of her left in there, and I knew she always wanted to go to Alaska. So when I heard that Herb was, going to do a cruise and land tour, I was like, can we tag along? Me and Cindy and Mom. What a wonderful trip. When you see a glacier for the first time with your own eyes, it changes you, I think, a little bit. You have an appreciation for this planet that we live on. Yeah, I remember Herb said to me one day, you can only make so much money working with your hands. Yep, he was right. I made enough. Yeah, he had a daughter. Has a daughter. She still lives. The Witty Kitty. The Witty Kitty. I can still see her at that dining room on the cruise ship when you do the formal thingy, formal dinner. She had a black dress on, and she had black hair anyway, raven hair. Good Jewish princess. She fit the bill. She looked magnificent that night. I remember that. Isn't that funny? She was regal somehow, yeah. Thank God for her. She helped keep an eye on Mom. Because at that point, you don't know. Is she in her cabin? I don't know. Oh. God bless her. The Witty Kitty. Yeah, I don't know. You ain't never seen a green turtle like this. You think you've heard of a green turtle? No. There's one in Fairbanks, Alaska. Ain't part of no chain, I don't think. In the middle of nowhere. Awesome restaurant in the middle of nowhere. Of course, there's a lot of nowhere in Fairbanks, And man, let me think. Me, Cindy, the Witty Kitty, Herb, and his wife. That's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mom, that's 6. And the driver, that's 7. I want you to picture a Yugo. Okay, we all know what a Yugo is. It was a Plymouth Horizon, I want to say. Man, last of all, woo! Little Econo box. Now, put 7 people in it. And now, the restaurant is just down the road a piece, 50 miles later. I've had Judy's ass in my face half of the time, or Cindy's ass in my face, which either one it's not a bad situation really for a man, I don't think, but there's arms out the windows almost. I mean, we are packed in this little car. What a pleasant evening, pleasant dinner in Fairbanks, Alaska. How peaceful. How calm. Yeah, Herb is a butthead. Herb is a butthead. At 92, you don't go out and do your gardening by yourself. You just don't do it. I guess you do. He did. And struck his head. He fell and struck his head. And then Butthole didn't tell anybody. And by the time they got to their favorite restaurant for dinner that night, it was too late. I think he hemorrhaged his brain. What a fine man. I think he adored me, and I adored him in a special way. He was like a father figure to me. He really was good to me. You win a Jewish man's trust and approval. You win a Jewish man's approval, it can get stupid. I mean, one day at lunch, I was bitching because the money wasn't rolling in fast enough. I mean, I was hustling, man. I had my game going. I was feeling kind of poorly. What a butthead I am. Herb looks at me, and I'm going to tell you what. He meant it. Every word. I'm sitting there at the luncheon table, and I'm bitching about, woe is me. He looks at me again, just stone. He starts to put his right hand in his pocket. He looks at me and goes, do you need some walking around money? How precious. I remember looking at him and going, shit, no, I don't need no walking around. I just want a bitch, Dad. I don't need no walking around money. That's what I call it ever since, walking around money. When I, hand somebody a couple of dollars, to buy it, whatever. Here, you need some walking around money. Oh, yes. That reminds me of that one. Oh, yeah. That'll be for later. Dad cut. Yeah. What a fine man, Herb. Herb Hollander. I remember him telling me that he shared a story. He was on a plane going somewhere. Obviously. I mean, he wasn't on a plane to just sit there and taxi forever. Okay, I'm sorry. Lord, I apologize. He was on a plane, getting ready to take off or something. And he says his father comes walking down the aisle of the plane. Comes up to him and basically says to Herb, everything's copacetic. All is well. It's okay. Move on. Now, his father was dead. And had been dead for, a little while. I wanted to finish up with that because I'm sitting here reminded of all of the people in my life, and there have been a lot that have said, and you've heard some of my stories, that have said, they were here. I knew it was them. It was them. All of a sudden I found myself with loved ones that were long gone, and they said, it's beautiful here. Now, you've heard those stories yourself from people. The white light, your out of body experience. You're above yourself on the operating table. You've heard all those stories. Do you think, as the listener, we're not talking about UFO sightings, okay? That's something completely different. And now for something completely different. Thank you. Cue up the Monty Python. Yeah. Can this many people that you know in your life, and there have been a lot, admit it. Admit it by now. Look back over your life. There have been a lot, and maybe even you yourself. But there have been a lot of people that talked about life after death type stuff. Bull. The white light, the tunnel, going to that, seeing loved ones, blah, 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 blah. No. Could they all be wrong? Could they all be imagining? Every single one of them? Peace.